I call Chris Hipkins.
Thank you very much, Mr Chair. Mr Chair, very happy to take a call on Clause 4A of this particular piece of legislation, which changes the constitutions of tertiary institution councils. And I think what would be quite useful for the House at this point is to understand in greater detail how the existing legislation has been put into effect. Under the existing law, a tertiary institution council includes students, staff, alumni, business, employers, and representatives appointed by the government. In the case of universities, the government, of course, have changed the rules around polytechnics and institutes of technology. So I'm going to deal primarily with universities because that's the councils that I'm most familiar with. So a university council has between one and three student representatives, between 1 and 3 staff representatives, and a variety of other representatives in statute. Under the existing legislation, the student representatives are nominated, appointed by the Students' Association. In the case of the Victoria University Students' Association, there are 2 representatives on the University Council, one of which the Students' Association have decided through their constitution will be the president of the Students' Association. And that person is, of course, by definition, elected by the students at the institution. The second position set aside for students at Victoria University is elected by the student populace at large in an election administered by the Students' Association. Now, at this point, what I would point out, and I'm looking forward to hearing Tauhenari's views on this particular issue, because he seems to be very eager to take a call. But Mr Chair, the election at large administered by the Students' Association is actually a very cost-effective and cheap way of getting the student representatives elected to the University Council. Because students' associations run those elections, all students are eligible to vote in them already, and so adding on another slot on the ballot paper to elect another student is actually, to elect another representative position, is actually a very cost-effective way of getting a student representative for the council that is elected by all students and therefore representative of the student body at large. And I would also say I believe quite firmly that an election administered by the university would probably have a lower turnout than an election administered by the Students' Association. And as evidence for that, I would look at the alumni representatives on the councils. Very, very low turnout in the elections for the alumni representatives on the university councils by comparison to the turnout for the election of student representatives in Students' Association elections. So I think it's really important that we understand how that works at the moment. Other institutions work a little bit differently. At Massey University, for example, I think they have 3 student representatives on the council at Massey University, and they do that. I think they had an extramural representative when I was involved, and one from the Māori students, and then the president of the Massey University Students' Association Federation, because the Federation of Students' Association of Massey University allows them to incorporate the student representatives from the different campuses where they have separate students' associations. What was that? Okay. Oh, right. Discrimination. That's what that is. That's discrimination. But, Mr Chair, so there are different rules depending on which institution we're talking about, and I think it's important we understand those. Under the amendment put forward by Heather Roy in the bill, so under the amendment the bill makes, the elections of student representatives will be solely the responsibility of the tertiary institutions concerned. It doesn't actually prescribe how they're going to conduct those elections. It just simply says that they are going to have to conduct the election in accordance with the statutes made by the council. Now, of course, the council could make a statute saying that we're going to have an election and only the people the Vice-Chancellor picks is going to be eligible to stand in the election. And under this piece of legislation, that would be perfectly acceptable. Now, I think that would be totally outrageous, but it would allow the council effectively to handpick which students it wanted to be represented on the council and therefore severely diminish. I know Mr Henry, I know it's getting late and he wants to go and have his little nap, but he's just going to have to bear with us a little bit longer. So, Mr Chair, I think one of the really important parts of having the Students' Association appointing or nominating the student representatives to council is it's actually very democratic. And Mr Chair,
I call Catherine Delahunt.